have some fun today. I have had this is a 2015 zforce LZ 54-inch commercial Cub Cadet, 0 turn. She's got the sticks. Now, then we got the mouse. I got to back up to get that in. But I just bought the 72-inch Land Pride, soon to be painted orange. This is a Land Pride color, but this is the FDR 1672. And you know, before this I had an LT 1050 Cub Cadet riding mower, and I did this place and it would take almost 5 hours. And then you'd have to go over the clippings, and this cut it down to an hour and a half. I got a good deal on that. It only had 80 hours on it. I do have some pretty good hills, so I put ATV tires on it and some nice hubcaps. Just because when you're on a hill, for those of you that don't know, if you've got that style, the caster wheels, if you have the turf tires and you go down a hill on wet grass, or if you lose traction, you're going to become a teacup. So this is the upgraded Kawasaki FR 730V engine. That's a 24 horse. Just to show you that not all horses are the same, that's 25 horse. So don't buy according to horsepower, because there's 100 cubic inches there, and that is more like a 35 horse. With just watch my videos, you see what I put it through. Weight wise, I think we're 790 on that, right around 700. The mower is 610. My tractor is 26 with the loader off. But when I'm mowing, that's riding on the casters. So works really good. Now this is going to be a long video because we are really going to get into the differences. And I thought this is what I wanted. I had this before I had that, so keep that in mind. And this beat the living hell out of the 1050, because I've got slopes and then trying to haul my big ass up a hill and still cut 50 inches. You lose power, you lose speed, and then you lose cutting power. This, the 0 turn, doesn't lose as much cutting power as long as the grass ain't too bad. So I showed you the modifications I did on the tires. So yeah, I've still got the stock ones, you know, if it was a flat area. But then this Jimmy rigged bungee, they had the plastic chute, and that's my big complaint with any type of belly mower. The chute would come way farther out, so your trim side is the other side where it's not a chute. But the problem I had was with that plastic chute, which I still have, coming down, it just hit that and died. So you've got a line of clumps everywhere. Well, there's a little bear standing there. See my gazebo, and off to the right, that's my garage. And between that, and then I've got a couple other outbuildings, or like the LP tank and the fence. You don't want to blow anything on it. So what I did was I got this metal plate. It's a flip down. So that's it open. And then I flip that down, and then it won't blow the wet grass clippings up against anything. But the only problem is it blows debris straight up, and then it leaves a line of trimmings. But you're not cleaning it off your siding and everything. But I just used my big M18 blower here to kind of blow. This had a little grass up here. Pretty minimal. Very easy cleanup. This is a freaking nightmare. I actually quit doing it because I don't believe in the water. Because you're adding water that will not dry because there's grass underneath and everything. But it is a lost cause with these. The deck fills with grass. The deck here. Where your feet sit fills with grass. You can see inside here, the belt covers. It is absolutely caked with grass. And I mean to tell you, that will fill up every use. You can clean it off and it's going to fill up, because when these guys are going forward, this is backwards right now. I don't know if it's too much weight on it. There's no there's no like mud flap or anything, so that wheel throws the grass right up on there. Plus your chute is right here. And I just got home from work a little while ago, and we got a nice windy day. So here's the other complaint. When I'm going, you've got from here to where I am, maybe 4 feet, and you can see the wind. It's going to blow it right back in your face. And I got an eye infection about 4 years ago, and ever since then, it's been, I'm surprised they don't drug test me every time I go back to work, because my eyes are so red, and I just got sick of it. It's, the biggest joke's the cup holder. I don't know what in the hell you would have to drink that this ride's so rough because of the small tires and everything. You'd have to have a water bottle with a cover on it, because grass just fills you. You have to shower after every use. Look at here. We'll tip this up. This is just grass and crap all around the engine. I get under trees so you get the branches. Yeah, it's nice. It mows fast, but it leaves clumps and clippings, so I have to go back over it. And because you've got 54-inch discharge, or I should say a 54-inch cut, but look at here. 14 inches maybe. So then your problem is, with any type of side discharge, any grass cut by, this is a 3-blade, any grass cut by this blade or that blade has to work its way out. Now, I know there's, people that, well, if you get a mulch kit, yeah, I don't know. I've had various ones. Sometimes they work. In the spring, summer, where you got the thick, wet, heavy moisture, and we get the humidity up here in Wisconsin, I don't know. You end up going over everything. And so a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll cut, then I'll come back while the clippings have laid down in the grass, or out in the sun, and they dry out, and then I can lift the deck a little bit and go back over it just to try to break them up. But the number one killer for this is when you're under the pine trees. So I got all these pine trees. This is just my backyard, and that's Bobo. You don't have much overhang. It's 54-inch. So to get under the trees, you're going to be riding the branches. Where this, relatively low profile, and a good 6 feet behind the tractor, I can just back under the trees and let the mowing you know, and let the mower take the abuse, and not have to use a weed eater and reach up underneath. But this has 2 fuel tanks. That's another thing. This is gasoline, and it sucks gas. I got not quite 5 acres here, I guess, and I'll use a tank every time. So that's 2.5 gallons. It ain't bad, but that thing, you can work its ass, and they just sip. It's a 3-cylinder diesel Kubota. It just sips fuel. I've mowed twice with this now, and my God, it's still above, you know, it's right at full. So a lot more bang for the buck. I don't have the extra fuel. You know, now I'll just have it. Well, my weed eater even now is a Milwaukee battery, so I really don't even need the gasoline anymore. Storage wise, they're going to take up the same amount. You know, this not very gracefully tilts up and stores out of the way, but I got tons of storage space with all my garages, so I'll probably end up selling that, and this will sit in its place. And this rolls around when it's not hooked to the tractor because of the wheels. The big advantage, the whole back 72-inch rear discharge. So you've got that discharge there of a foot to maybe, I wouldn't even give that 16 inches. And here you got 72 inches. Each blade's throwing it out the back. The minimal amount of clippings this leaves is crazy. But then another advantage, I can take it between the gazebo and the garage, and nothing's blowing out either way. So nothing on the garage, nothing in the lattice or by the fire pit. You can go up tight against everything. You can back up, and it's just, for some reason, when these are going backwards mowing, they got a key you gotta hit, and it just leaves a ton of shit out in front, the grass clippings and that. And so when I mow with this, going around the house, for about 3 laps, maybe 4, I got to blow away from the house, because if I go back the other way, it's going to blow it into the flowers or the screen on my gazebo or just everything. Where this goes right up against it, and then the next pass is 6 feet away. And it's just crazy the lack of clippings this has. So obviously it's a 3-point PTO driven. The grease zerks everywhere on this, on the wheels. These little black caps, actually you don't even have to take them off, but they're so easy to pull out. But there's 3 of them for the spindles, and then for the casters, for the wheels, and then the shaft itself. There's even a oil. This is the gear case right there. That you loosen that with the nut, and that's a dipstick. It's a vented one for your gear oil on that. Easy to drain. The belt guards have these twist off to change your anything, but I got this for $1,700 brand new. They're 3,000 to 4, somewhere in there, give or take. But the guy had used it very little. He sold his tractor, and it's a 2018. So I think he said he used it 3 times. Like I said, I'm going to paint it orange just to match everything, orange and black. But man, I just, the tires are solid, and so much better on the hill because the tractor's 4-wheel drive. So my steep hill up in front, I put in 4-wheel drive, and anything that's steep or scary, I just back up it. Where this, it's handled it. I've never had really an issue, but when you make tight turns, it's like a skid steer. You're going to rip up the grass, especially with the ATV tires. But I wouldn't want to mow my property with the turf tires because they're too slick. Look at Bo. He's laying in the shade over there. Oh, you heard his name, so now he's on the prowl. But, you know what? I love my tractor. That thing rides rough as hell. This thing don't ride bad at all. And if I put anything in here in the cup holder to drink, it's not going to get full of crap. I can drink it while I drive. You know, like if I were to drink a beer, which who'd ever do that? And that one's useless. They shouldn't even put it on it because you got so much shit on you. Another thing that I don't know if it's just me, but these caps, when I went between the trees and the fence, the branches hit this and it was spinning it off, and I had a bunch of needles and crap in there, so I had to take the whole thing apart, take the fuel tank off. It's an awesome machine. You know, it's got a trailer hitch. I pulled a sweeper with it, but you got a pivot point there, you know, because there's not much weight on the front. The weight's all in the back on these. And you really got to watch going downhill and then turning, because you can't do it. Because all your weight's forward and you're going to lose traction. And going uphill, well, you got all the weight on the back, and as long as you're smooth with the levers, you know, you're good to go. But those armrests are worthless. They don't match up with your arms, so they're a joke. Yeah, and this thing, if it gets caught up on the deck underneath, because even when you lift it to the high point, it's got a lock. You know, it's just got this pin here that you adjust your height, and then you can pull this all the way to the top for like just transport. And but just like on a tractor, you can only lift it so much, and if you get caught up, it doesn't take much for them to start spinning. And when you get one of these stuck, like I said, 700 pounds, better have somebody like that to come pull you out. But I think that's pretty much everything. They're both hydrostatic. As speed-wise, that goes pretty fast. It's 54-inch, but I got 3 ranges on this. Low, medium, and high. So when I'm in the tight spots, I can put it in low, so you got a little more finesse. And you know, that's going to keep spinning as long as I got the PTO engaged. And the tip speeds are all over 18,000, so they're right in there, the same with the blade speeds. But this will just keep mowing in reverse, and I can switch from 4 to 2-wheel drive as I need with that orange T-handle there. And this just kind of floats. You put it in float mode, and this here will adjust for your hills up and down. And then these, that's a solid hole there, but you don't tighten it. And then this one, it actually has, if you can see on that one over there, it's like a channel. So then that one's loose, and then it floats this way for the contour of the hills. So yeah, and you know, usually you want your pin to line up with your top link. I've got mine a little more down, but what I did was, before I engaged the PTO, I had the PTO hooked up, not spinning. But then when you come down a hill and then you turn flat, you want to make sure you've got enough length for it to close, because if that bottoms out, you're going to push your PTO into the tractor, and then you've got a whole new definition of an expensive breakdown. And the same thing with if you go down a hill and this stays flat, this has to slide apart, and you want to make sure that it's long enough. So I checked everything, did a dry run with it, and you know, with my top link, it's not going to let that do it too far, and then the top link will take over. But I can handle everything on my property with plenty of room. so I don't have to worry about, you know, doing any damage. And plus it's kind of cool, you can pick this up and it's still spinning. So, you know, if you got to back up and you don't want it mowing, you still can have the blade spinning and lift it up and go in reverse. But I think what I'll do is I'll set up now I'll probably end up cutting the same area twice, but it's just to show you. I'm hoping it catches the wind. With the corn up as high as it is right now, being September, it might not show as much, but we're facing south. The wind's coming from the east, or from the west, sorry, blowing east, and we got 4 to 6 inches of grass here, and it's going to be blowing it right back in my face. So every time I get down there, I got to turn to the left to kind of avoid it. And when you turn tight, this is like a skid steer, so the tires are going to just rip the grass up. That doesn't bother me because I've never had a problem growing grass. But what I've noticed over the years is in the same areas, like going around corners around the LP tank or my light pole or some other stationary objects I have, is over time these will dig ruts just like a four-wheeler would. And, you know, you got that going on. I don't want to mow with the loader on because with my loader arms, it's longer. Plus, all that weight transfers to the front tires, which are smaller. And when I've had a problem of imprints in the grass, it's come from the front tires actually, because they're narrow and there's so much more. You know, a loader in a bucket's 1,100 pounds, 1,100 pounds. So when you got that pushing down on the front, it really affects the, you know, the grass. But in this mode, and with this being as heavy as it is, and you know, all that leverage holding it out that far away from the tractor and lifting it, it still doesn't make it very light on the front because I've got the engine and a longer wheelbase, and it handles it on my property, you know, really good. What you would want to avoid, oh, and look what Bo's doing right on camera. He'll look over here because he's, no? Yeah. Isn't that nice? If you were to back down a hill, now you got your weight going down the hill, which is going to make the front end lighter. Then you want to be, you know, if you got something like that, like if you had a pond, watch Dave Knows How. He covers that with his. He's got a steep area. Well, then you put your loader on, and it don't even hurt to grab a little bucket. You know, if you got, like I do, a stockpile of gravel, put a little bit of gravel in there, and you got a counterweight. Then when you go to do something like that, you got the weight out over front of the tractor, plus you got some in the bucket, so that when you go down a hill with this weight, and then you go to pick it up, you're not going to do a wheelie out of there. So yeah, that's all I really had there. I guess I should show, like I showed the pins on that, on how to adjust. Okay, well this has the pins on top, and then you've got these 1-inch spacers, and then one's a 1/2 inch. So right now, and I'm not you're technically adjusting the blade height, but you're adjusting the deck height. The blades are going to ride above the deck. And then I've got it set 2 inches. So the side of this deck, and this is all 1/4 inch going around, and everything else is 3/16. You know, look at this thing is a beast. It is heavy. And if it ain't 1/4 inch, it's 3/16. But so what you're doing, you adjust all four the same, and then you've got that 1/2 inch. So right now I got it 2 inches. If I wanted 1.5 inches, I'd pull that pin, I'd raise this up, pull the pin one wheel at a time, and then the whole caster drops down. And then I just put one spacer and that 1/2 inch spacer on the bottom and put the rest up on top, push the pin back in. And same for adjustment. It has an adjustment for different length top links, so you can hook here. And also on this, I've got the Pat's quick hitch. So instead of the regular quick hitch where it has to be quick hitch compatible, which this is, I love these because they'll hook on the bottom, they lock in, they're very simple to use. But then I have to manually put my top link on, but this will hook up to any attachment. It doesn't have to be quick hitch compatible. They're 4 inches out farther, so I had to get a 4-inch longer top link. But I would never buy a quick hitch. I'm sorry. These are for $200, and any attachment on Craigslist or Facebook or anything you can buy, no matter how old it is, and it's going to work. Where a quick hitch, you might have to adjust the top link. You know, this is turned into a Pat's commercial, but this system is so much nicer, so much cheaper. You don't have to buy extra bushings like on a lot of the quick hitches. And the other big thing, the quick hitch would be a frame here. When you're messing with the PTO, look how open this is. I don't have that. So there were guys a lot more knowledgeable than me recommending this. I went on blind faith, and now I know why, and I love them. So yeah. But anyways, so this can adjust. Instead of using these 2 bolts, you could use the middle 2, or you could use the back 2, and that would adjust these depending on what size tractor you have. You know, if you needed one closer, or if you had a smaller tractor and you wanted the machine farther away from the tractor, you could use those back ones and it'd give you more room with the tires. With this, doesn't matter. Plus I put the 3-inch wheel spacers, bore spacers on this. They're both hydrostatic, so they're both going to stop with the hydraulic pump. With the levers out like they are there, that's the parking brake on that. Mine, you let go of it, and then I can adjust the brakes. They're linked together right now, so both wheels, but I could loosen them and brake individually, or I just push the pedal in, slide that lever up, and lock in the parking brake. But I've never had a bad day on my tractor. I don't care if it's 20 below. The lawnmower, at first it was a pleasure, but you have to shower after you use it. It's just, and it gets really hot. But does the job. You know, I'm very fortunate, very lucky. People don't have, you know, there's some people wish they had something like that. And here's the reason why once I start, the dogs won't be out here. They'll be in the gazebo and you'll hear them barking. Ooh, ooh, Bobo. You tough? Yeah. Oh, the neighbor's out, so he sees the neighbor. So he's gonna go bark at him. So anyways, I'm gonna set up the tripod and I'm just gonna do a couple runs here. And then I'll move over to the garage over there by the gazebo just to show you how this all works. But yeah, let's go have some fun.